Hello once again, everybody, and thank you for joining me in the Bettor's Box. It's the BangTheBook.com's MLB betting podcast for Thursday, August 8th. I'm your host, Adam Burke. This and every edition of the Bettor's Box presented by our friends over at DSI Sportsbook. BTB and the number 200 is that promo code. 100% deposit match bonus for the Sportsbook, 100% deposit match bonus for the live casino at BetDSI. It's only a game until you bet it. Monday, Thursday format here with the Bettor's Box. A very exciting Thursday to be sure. NFL preseason games. Week 1 starting up tonight. Obviously, we had the Hall of Fame game last week. We've got week 1 of the preseason here for you to check out. Got a preview for Jets and Giants over at BangTheBook.com. Also a preview for tomorrow's game between the Steelers and the Buccaneers. I'll be doing 2 or 3 preseason previews per week over at the website to give you some sort of insight on some of the games. Probably going to highlight the ones that are on NFL Network or any other various cable networks that are out there. So you can keep an eye out for that over at BangTheBook.com. But as we get into more of a football mindset, if you want to sign up for the Super Contest, for the Circa Million, for the Golden Nugget Ultimate Football Challenge, the William Hill Pick'em, Vegas Matty over at FootballContest.com is your guy. Matt's done a phenomenal job for us over the last several years as our proxy for the Super Contest and also the Golden Nugget last year. And it looks like we'll be in the Circa Million here this year as well. So I'll be making a visit to see Matty here sometime here this month. But FootballContest.com, you have to have a proxy if you live outside of the state of Nevada. So if you're going to go out there, get together with Matt, get an appointment time with him so you can sign up for the Super Contest or any of the other football contests that are out there. Once again, FootballContest.com. Lots of football stuff on Bang the Book Radio here of late. I wanted to do a football show either Tuesday or Wednesday, but unfortunately schedules didn't line up with any of our regular guests. But we've got plenty of football content here that we've done over the last few weeks with Rolf Michaels, Brad Powers, Brian Leonard, Ross Tucker. Good long shelf lives on those specific football podcasts. We'll be doing some more stuff next week. And because my wife has a friend in town with her family here this weekend, going to start the full daily shows August 19th. So a week from Monday, we'll restart the full daily shows going an hour plus, couple of guests per day. Really looking forward to doing that. Really wanted to do it next week, but just to make things easier, we'll start that on August 19th. So we'll go 5 days that week, 5 days the next week, and then 5 days all the way through the end of the national championship game. Feels like it's a long time away. It certainly will be. I should say basketball national championship game, not football. The end of March Madness will go 5 days a week through that right here on Bang the Book Radio. So looking forward to that. Looking forward to bringing you some more video content over the course of the season as well. We're going to have a lot of stuff going on here for the football season. So keep it tuned right here to BangTheBook.com and Bang the Book Radio. And look over at the website right now. You know, lots of great college football content from our talented cast of writers. All 32 NFL season win total previews. And this week we've been rolling out Danny Vorgs' model selections for NFL season win totals, looking at his numbers versus what's out there in the marketplace. Those have been fantastic, going division by division. I believe the AFC starts today, or maybe it started yesterday. But we got great stuff from Danny Vorgs over at BangTheBook.com. 58% lifetime on his sides and totals in that weekly power ratings article for us. So get his thoughts for the upcoming season as well. We got NASCAR, WNBA, soccer previews coming out later today for the upcoming seasons that are getting underway there. Great golf preview from James Mazzola this week. Tons of stuff going on at BangTheBook.com. Please make sure you check it all out. All right, so we got a traditional format here for the Bettor's Box. I will be doing the Bettor's Box on Monday, just not starting the full daily shows next week. So be starting with the Bettor's Box on Monday. Probably nothing on Tuesday. Wednesday, we'll do some kind of football content. Thursday, Bettor's Box. On Friday, UFC with a big card coming up here a week from Saturday. So you'll definitely want to make sure you're checking out those UFC segments with Christian Pina. But in any event, we'll have a Monday mailbag coming up here after the weekend at Skating Tripods on Twitter, Adam at BangTheBook.com via email. Also, I realized I didn't send out Monday's show notes. I apologize for that. I will add those to the attachment with today's show notes for those that are on that mailing list. But in any event, regular format here, Beyond the Box Score, Down the Lines, pick, and previews for the weekend. So let's go ahead and get underway with the Beyond the Box Score segment. We start with the Braves, who took 2 out of 3 from the Minnesota Twins. Minnesota 26-27 against teams 500 or better, 44-16 against teams with a losing record. The Braves 36-32 against teams 500 or better, 31-16 against teams with a losing record. I guess that's 37-32 now against teams with a winning record. So, look, this is something that's important to keep in mind here, is that the Twins haven't been challenged a ton against really high-quality teams. They only have one high-quality team in their division. That's the Indians. The Braves, with some more challenging opponents on their schedule. And, hey, you know what? Maybe that contributed a little bit to what we saw here in this series as the Braves get 23 runs off of Twins pitching in the last 2 games. Great offensive showcase for Atlanta. The Twins weren't bad offensively, but once again, very home run dependent. 12 of their 19 runs in this series coming off of home runs. They only drew 8 walks. So, the Twins offensively, look, they make a ton of hard contact. They've been very, very good all season long. They are pretty home run dependent. So if they're facing guys with pretty good command, they can have some hiccups in those particular matchups. You look at some other things here about this series, keep an eye on. Mike Foltynewicz. Look, he struggled the third time through. He should have been pulled before that. Brian Snitker, a little bit of sleep at the wheel there. But he gave 5 really good innings for the Braves in that series here against the Twins. That could be a big deal going forward. A lot of teams looking for starting pitching depth at this point in time, and they have to look for it all internally with the trade deadline come and gone. So for Mike Foltynewicz to go out there, throw 5 good innings against a really, really good lineup, something that's definitely important for the Braves as we go forward. Their bullpen's still in a little bit of a state of flux. Chris Martin, the guy who gets tagged in Game 1 of this series, giving up the 2-run homer that was the walk-off game winner for Miguel Sano. But things will settle down. They'll start to fit into their roles. They'll start to figure out where guys excel in different matchups. So high on the Braves here the rest of the way. I took their season win total over with their adjusted number going into the second half. I think that's a pretty good bet at this point in time. But really good showing for the Braves here who, hey, you don't give up that home run in the 9th inning. Maybe we're talking about a sweep here over Minnesota. As far as the Twins go, big series starts tonight against the Indians. I'll talk about that one more here later on in the show. The Dodgers sweep the Cardinals at home at Chavez Ravine, and this was not a good showcase for the Cardinals at all. 2 runs scored in the 3 games in this series for St. Louis. It was Tony Gonsolin, Clayton Kershaw, and then Dustin May that shut them down here overall. Look, there were some positives here. Jack Flaherty continuing his strong run. His last 6 starts have been absolutely phenomenal. That's a big deal for the Cardinals here going forward. Miles Mikolas also very good here in this series against the Dodgers. Mike Wacha was not, but no run support here. And look, I talked about this a little bit last week with the Cardinals. Fewest number of 95-plus batted balls since the start of June. They just don't make a lot of hard contact, and it's really hard to score runs these days if you're not hitting for a high slugging percentage. Cardinals finding that out the hard way here over the last couple of months. And, look, one last kick in the balls here in this series for the Cardinals, giving up that seeing eye walk-off single. Carlos Martinez has had some bumps in the road here at the back end of this bullpen. But for the Cardinals, look, the guys in-house aren't performing. And for the most part, Paul Goldschmidt's been a disappointment this season, except for that little run he went on 2-3 weeks ago where he homered, I think, 6 straight games. They kind of did this to themselves. They've lost 5 straight they lost 5 straight here overall. They did nothing at the trade deadline, and they've not played well since the trade deadline. They didn't fix any of their holes, and they have plenty of them. So the Cardinals here, as we go forward, maybe their starting pitching does improve. Mikolas and Flaherty very good in this series, as I mentioned. But overall, not much to love about this offense. The Dodgers, on the other hand, 10 walk-off wins. They've almost won twice as many games as they've lost. They've fixed Joe Kelly at the back end of this bullpen. Look, man, they're the best team in the National League. As much as I like the Braves, I don't think anyone can hold a candle to the Dodgers, and it will be a stunner if they don't represent the senior circuit here at the World Series. The Diamondbacks took 2 out of 3 from the Phillies, but this is one of those series where you want to look a little bit deeper. Lost opportunities for the Phillies here. They did win Game 1 7-3. but 5 for 19 with a runner in scoring position. Then in game 2, a game that they lost 8-4, 2 for 17 with a runner in scoring position. So they had chances. They just didn't get those big base hits when they needed them, and then got absolutely nothing off of Zach Gallen in the final game here in this series. Zach Gallen looks like a phenomenal addition for the Diamondbacks already. Only his first start went 8 days between starts, but this is a kid that, as I mentioned, been a first 5 wizard. He's been very, very strong here to start his big league career, and people have raved about his stuff for a long time. So that looks like it could be a phenomenal pickup for Arizona going forward. Look at the Diamondbacks here in this series. They only struck out 18 times in 3 games. They put a lot of balls in play, and something that Mike Petrello of StatCast, was talking about here on Twitter earlier in the week is that there's so much more importance with making contact now in this juiced ball era. Now, the Diamondbacks aren't a prolific home run hitting team by any means, but they may be a little bit ahead of the curve in terms of putting balls in play. When you look at some of the best offenses in baseball here of late, Astros, Indians, Twins, all teams with really low strikeout rates. So if Arizona can find another power bat or two, and maybe Christian Walker kind of developing into that guy, David Peralta's a guy with good power on the left side against righties. If they can add some more power here, this Diamondbacks team could be really interesting over the next little while because they just put a lot of balls in play, and also they're a very, very strong defensive team. That's something that the Phillies do struggle with. Gene Segura errs in 3 straight games in this series for them. That'll be a problem that the Phillies have to solve here in the next offseason, figuring out what to do with some of their poor defensive personnel while not losing offense in the process. One more series to take a look at here. The Brewers with a sweep of the Phillies. The Brewers had to do this, and they did it. Good Jordan Lyles effort in Game 1. Dario Agrazal, regression candidate. He's seeing that come to fruition now. But in Game 1, Freddie Peralta, Josh Hader, both struggling a little bit. Hader doesn't pitch in Game 2 with the back-to-back. The Brewers did win a pen battle without him. Then in Game 3, Drew Pomerantz, 3-inning start, patchworked it together after that. Look, I'm still not sold on the Brewers as we go forward here. Hader struggling, Jeffress struggling, Peralta hit or miss, trying to cobble things together. Craig Counsell's done a phenomenal job here this season of figuring out how to keep this Brewers team competitive with all of the pitching staff concerns that they have. But at some point, it's probably just going to be too much for Milwaukee here. And again, with their primary relievers having such a difficult time, maybe it gets better, but I doubt that it does. You're talking about a team that went to the NLCS last year, a lot of innings, a lot of mileage on this bullpen. Relievers typically don't get stronger as the year goes along, as those innings and appearances mount. So with the Brewers here, still very, very concerned, even though they did what they had to do against the Pirates with that sweep. And by the way, speaking of the Pirates, what a debacle, what a disaster, what a train wreck for this team here. They didn't really make too many selling moves at the trade deadline. They probably should have. Clint Hurdle should be a dead man walking as far as the managerial job goes. It's a mess for the Pirates, and this is a team now that just isn't playing with any kind of spunk, isn't playing with any kind of fire. This will probably continue to be a bad rest of the season for Pittsburgh as we go forward. Something I really wanted to focus on here on today's show. It's been a challenging baseball season for me, things looking up a little bit here of late, but it's been a tough year overall. And I wonder if this is just really obvious. And I've talked about this before, but I figured it was a good time to go ahead and mention this again. The best course of action in Major League Baseball may just be to overcapitalize yourself and bet a bunch of big favorites. So let's look at some numbers here on today's show as we go beyond the box. We're looking at big and heavy favorites. Since the second half began for all teams on July 12th, there was one game on July 11th. It doesn't apply to this. But since the start of the second half, July 12th, minus 180 or higher favorites, 79 and 27. $100 bettors up almost $2,000 using the killersports.com database, which uses 5 dimes closing lines as the value here. Minus 180 or higher favorites, 79 and 27. $100 bettors up $1,990. The run line in those games, 69 and 38, 64.5%. $100 bettors up $2,250. So if you've been playing big favorites on the money line, on the run line, or on the -1 line, you've been doing exceptionally well. Totals in those games, interestingly enough, only 52, 51, and 4 to the over. So bad offenses simply aren't hitting. That's basically the primary takeaway here, is that bad offenses are not hitting when they're in a big underdog role. If we extend this here in the second half since July 12th to -200 or higher favorites, 65 and 13, 83.3%, $100 bettors up over $3,000 based on those Killer Sports Database closing numbers, which again come from 5 Dimes. That's a 16.6% ROI on -200 or higher favorites since July 12th. Those -200 or higher favorites, 55 and 24 on the run line, 70%. $100 bettors up about $2,400. So, look, I know a lot of people are allergic to heavy chalk, and I don't want to put my readers in the article in a position to have to lay big numbers. I don't do it. I think the biggest number I've laid this year, maybe in the -155, -160 range, as far as the spreadsheet goes. But again, in the second half, since July 12th, 79 and 27 for -180 or higher favorites, 65 and 13 for -200 or higher favorites. For the full season here, -200 or higher favorites, 204 and 64, 76.1%. $100 bettors up $5,415 based on those numbers at the Killer Sports Database. Again, closing lines at 5 Dimes. Run line coming in at 61.2% on those -200 or higher favorites. So as we look here, and I've talked about this before, this is a very profitable trend for the last 5 seasons dating back to 2015. Since the start of 2018, if you only played -180 or higher favorites, 762 and 288, 72.6%. $100 bettors up $14,175, 6% ROI. Playing those big favorites since the start of 2018. Since the start of 2017, once again, -180 or higher favorites, 1,099 and 414, 72.6%. $100 bettors up $20,975, 6.2% ROI. Again, 5 Dimes closing lines on those coming from the killersports.com database. Look, this is where Major League Baseball is right now. The gap between the haves and the have-nots is so substantial. It is extremely substantial. And what we're seeing is that those big favorites are holding up their end of the bargain more often than not. They hit better and they pitch better. And we've got some really, really awful teams. A lot of teams tanking, a lot of teams seeing what somebody like the Houston Astros did, being bad for so long, getting all these guys, graduating them all to the major leagues at the same time, and then putting together something of a dynasty as far as the AL West goes. So big favorites have been extremely profitable. When will this stop? I don't know. You know, we have such an influx of young talent these days, but we also have these teams that are so much more advanced analytically and organizationally. So I don't know when this cash cow runs out of milk. But what I do know is that here in the second half so far, it has been as chalk-heavy as you would think. Again, I will give you these numbers because I think they're very important. Since July 12th, -180 favorites or higher, 79 and 27, $100 bettors up almost 20 units, -200 or higher favorites, 65 and 13, 83.3%, $100 bettors up almost 30. They're up over 32 units. Don't be allergic to heavy chalk. Overcapitalize yourself and play those big favorites. And I get it. It's a challenge because football season is coming up. You want to be as liquid as possible to bet the NFL and college football because that's what everybody enjoys to do. You know, that's what this industry is kind of founded on. But man, big favorites in the baseball betting world are simply killing it, and they've done it for the last 5 years. And look, get together with some friends, pool your money together, be able to play these big favorites, because I don't think that this is anything that changes anytime soon. And a lot of people are scared of laying that big chalk. They're scared of the idea of, if I bet 200 to win 100 and I lose, I'm down 200. How many more bets do I have to win to get that back? And I certainly understand that. But, man, as we look at the results here, and again, these are from 5 Dimes closing lines. Other places have different numbers, and you're certainly paying a premium for big favorites at places like MyBookie or Bovada, something like that. But if you play at a reasonably lined sports book, this has been so profitable for you over the last 5 years, and it's on a very strong run here in the second half as well. And again, I don't think that stops. Maybe it comes down a little bit. I would be surprised if 200 or higher favorites cash at 83% the rest of the way. But even at 75% or 76%, you're still turning a clear profit. So, again, you're going to keep seeing much larger lines out there in the marketplace, but these favored teams are getting the job done. And as their playoff pushes continue, they should keep getting the job done. So pull some money together, get your friends together. It's an investment opportunity to play these big favorites here. Again, over the last 2+ seasons, since 2017, minus 180 or higher favorites with a 6.2% ROI, $100 bettors up almost 21 grand. I mean, maybe this is the code. Maybe this is the code that we've cracked for Major League Baseball. Just play big favorites. And it's challenging because a lot of people don't want to do that. And I understand the reasons why, but it's been exceptionally profitable over the last 5 years to just lay those big numbers, let those superior teams take care of business, and go ahead and cash those tickets. So, again, we'll see if this continues, but those were some eye-popping numbers that I decided to run here prior to today's recording of the Bettor's Box. All right, so let's go down the line. Let's talk about some line moves here dating back to Tuesday. We saw some money on Zach Wheeler, but that was also an odds adjustment with the switch from Jordan Yamamoto to Hector Noesi, and the Marlins loser there in that one is the Mets win the game as a big favorite. Tuesday, we saw some money come in on Mike Leake and the Diamondbacks. And, I mentioned this in the article, and maybe we got a little bit fortunate with the Diamondbacks winning that one as the Phillies were 2 for 17 with a runner in scoring position. But Mike Leake, a pitch-to-contact guy with a substantial defensive upgrade going from the Mariners to the Diamondbacks, upwards of 140 defensive runs saved difference between the two teams. So this is a substantial upgrade for Mike Leake. We'll see if he takes advantage of it. Wasn't great in that start. Gave up 11 hits, but only gave up, I think, 3 runs. So, it's one of those situations there where maybe it did help him a little bit and helped him limit the damage with those base hits. So that's something to keep in mind with Mike Leake here. A massive, massive defensive upgrade. Kershaw got bet into a bigger favorite for the Dodgers against Miles Mikolas and the Cardinals. Thought Mikolas actually matched up pretty well with the Dodgers there. He doesn't give up a lot of home runs, at least hasn't of late. Doesn't walk a lot of guys. Pitched pretty well, but the Cardinals still come up on the short end there in that one. Saw some Angels money on Tuesday against Anthony DeSclafani. That was a loser. We were on DeSclafani in that one, so happy to see the Angels money go down in that game. That was Jose Suarez going for the Angels there in that one. Tuesday, we also saw some Zach Greinke money in his first start with the Astros against German Marquez and the Rockies. Probably see a lot of Greinke money now that he's with the Astros, much like we see on a daily or on a weekly basis with Justin Verlander and also Garrett Cole. Once again on Tuesday, Dinelson Lamet taking money for the Padres. The market loves this guy, man. He gets bet into a bigger favorite here in this one, and the Padres did take care of business there against the Seattle Mariners. Wednesday, we see Jack Flaherty and Cardinals money against Dustin May, a.k.a. Ginger Guard, according to what his nickname is out there in the market. Flaherty was phenomenal. 6 straight really good starts for him. Seems like he's figured it out a little bit. We'll see what Flaherty's number looks like here in his next start coming up early next week. Money came in on Zach Gallen and the Diamondbacks here. Diamondbacks could get a steal in that deal, as I mentioned earlier. Gallen, in terms of first 5 money line, first 5 under, been terrific in his MLB career so far. would expect that to probably continue here with his new team. And once again, another defensive upgrade for a guy like Gallen. So when he allows balls in play, Arizona's defense is going to be much better than Miami's was. Money on Brandon McKay and the Rays against Wilmer Font and the Blue Jays. Not really a big surprise there. Also seeing money against the Jays here today against the Yankees. So the Jays maybe had their little bit of fun, but now money coming in against them in a lot of scenarios. Ivan Nova took money against the Tigers. Nova pitching really, really well. The Tigers suck. They're a mess. They're awful. Not really a big surprise to see Nova money there. And once again, I'm getting mad at myself for not playing these situations. But when the Tigers play a day game after a night game, they don't seem to care a whole lot. Didn't seem to care there in that one either. So a very heavy James Paxton steam for the Yankees against the Orioles and Southpaw John Means. Paxton maybe figuring it out a little bit here. We'll see. But, of course, going up against Baltimore, not really all that impressive. The Yankees hit a ton of home runs against the Orioles there in that series. Max Fried bet from a small dog to a favorite in that Braves versus Twins series. Wound up being the right side as the Braves really knocked around Martin Perez in that one and came away with that series victory. Garrett Cole took money once again on Wednesday in the marketplace against Peter Lambert and the Rockies. Not a big surprise there. We did see some Joey Lucchesi money hit the board for the Padres against the Mariners and Yusei Kikuchi. Look, the move made sense, but Yusei Kikuchi here, substantial splits in division and non-division games. He's got an ERA around 3.50 outside of the AL West. He has an ERA about 8.5 or 9 against division opponents. So for Kikuchi here, when he takes on teams that aren't division opponents, chance that he'll be pretty good the rest of the way. When he takes on teams in the division, stay as far, far away as you possibly can. Lots of craziness last night in the Royals-Red Sox game. 4-4 in the 10th. Game suspended due to rain. Some bets decided, other bets not decided. Pushes and refunds, winners and losers. Be sure you know the house rules where you're betting. This is a very, very unique situation, to say the least. We don't see a lot of games that are going to end up in ties because this game won't matter to either team once we get to the end of the year. But a lot of house rules stipulate that full game bets just have to go 9 innings. So for it to be called in the 10th, a refund on money lines, Royals run line a winner, team totals definitely, you have to see what the house rules look like at your particular sports book. But again, most of these bets stipulate 9 innings or 8.5 with the home team having a lead. If it goes that far, it's an official game from a betting standpoint. So even though there wasn't a winner, even though the game wasn't decided, the under on the total got paid. If it was 8.5, and those team totals, wind up being losers if your team didn't get there. So again, make sure you know the house rules. This is a very rare situation, but that was what played out there last night at Fenway Park. Thursday, all-night games. Seeing some Marlins nibbles against Dallas Keuchel. Dallas Keuchel struggling his third time through the order. Maybe a live betting opportunity there, but I'm not looking to fade the Braves here in this particular spot. Cole Hamels took some early money, some pretty decent money at that, for Cubs versus Reds. Now seeing some buyback on the Reds side with Alex Wood on the bump for them. Aaron Nola taking money tonight for the Phillies against the Giants. I do like Nola. That's one of my 2 plays from the article today. Looking to fade Madison Bumgarner a little bit, who seems to be going through a little bit of a dead arm period. The velocity is down. The results haven't been as great as last couple of starts. And Aaron Nola has been so good since his first 5 starts of the year where he kind of struggled. So I like the Phillies and Aaron Nola tonight. The Padres line moving a little bit on Eric Lauer this evening. That's the Padres against the Rockies and John Gray. The first 5 under is my other play in that one tonight. 4.5 flat, -110, the under for the first 5 there. But I do low-key like Eric Lauer a little bit. Seems like the market kind of does as well. See Domingo Germán get bet into a bigger favorite against the Blue Jays. Not a big surprise there. Chris Sale getting pumped up as a bigger favorite against the Angels. Chris Sale has really struggled, though. So that's a scary situation with that line going up against Anaheim. But Dylan Peters going for the Angels. Not a lot of believers in him. Matt Boyd taking money out there in the market for the Tigers against the Royals. Look, more power to you. I'm not surprised the quant crowd really likes Matt Boyd in that one against Jorge Lopez, but I will never lay 65 cents with a team as bad as the Detroit Tigers are. That's just not going to happen. Not a whole lot of movement in the Tribe and Twins game. We've seen a lot of movement on Mike Clevenger here of late, but we're not seeing it here today. Maybe that's kind of telling about this game, but we'll see what happens as that game gets closer to first pitch. All right, so we take a look here at the weekend ahead, and we'll go ahead and start with that Indians and Twins series. 4 huge games. The Twins lead is down to 2. Indians are 52-22 against teams with a losing record. They're 16-22 against teams 500 or better. So they do have a lot to prove to a lot of people out there. I'm sure some people betting the Twins just based on that, and I can't really fault you for that because the Indians really have not played well against winning teams or 500 teams over the last several years as they've been winning Central Division championships. They beat up on the bums. They do it as well or better than anybody else that's out there. The Twins are not bums, though. Mike Clevenger, Kyle Gibson tonight, Shane Bieber, Devin Smeltzer tomorrow, Adam Plutko, Jake Odorizzi on Saturday, Aaron Savale, Jose Barrios on Sunday. Look, the Indians have to win these first 2 games with Clevenger and Bieber because the last 2 games, Odorizzi and Barrios, definitely go to the Twins. They're better equipped this time around for a guy like Devin Smeltzer, so I do like the Indians a little bit on Friday. I don't know if I'll play them. We'll see what that line looks like, but I do like them a little bit on Friday. Jake Odorizzi's hard hit rate is climbing, but Adam Plutko, kind of a gas can, maybe the over on Saturday. Aaron Savale, command guy with decent strikeout rates in the minor leagues, but a tough spot here against a Twins team with a very high barrel rate, highest number of hard hit balls here this season. The Indians offense, though, much improved from the last time they faced the Twins. Couple more bats in the lineup, and also they're swinging it a little bit better. Jose Ramirez, in particular, swinging it a lot better. So, really fun series. I don't know how much I'll be involved, but man, this is the Indians' chance, and they really have to take it here in this series. Cubs and the Reds. You got Cole Hamels, Alex Wood tonight, Yu Darvish, Trevor Bauer tomorrow, Kyle Hendricks, Sonny Gray on Saturday, John Lester, Luis Castillo on Sunday. I'll be on the Cubs tomorrow as long as that line with Yu Darvish isn't too big. Darvish in a great groove, looking to fade Bauer here in his first few starts with the Reds. So hoping for something in the 125 range, minus 125 range with Darvish here. Could be a little bit lower. If it is, I'm happy with that. If it is, I will definitely have a play on Darvish and the Cubs. May look at the Reds on Sunday. John Lester's stuff just clearly in decline. Luis Castillo going for the Reds there in that one. Big spot for the Reds to try and gain some more ground. Let's see if they are able to do it here in this series. Braves and Marlins. Dallas Keuchel, Eliezer Hernandez tonight. Julio Teheran, Caleb Smith on Friday. Mike Soroka, Sandy Alcantara Saturday. Mike Foltynewicz, Hector Noesi on Sunday. I want to see the Braves go for the throat. I do not want to see a let-up here in this series. Take care of your affairs. Go win at least 3 out of 4. Maybe you gain some ground in that division chase where you can widen your lead a little bit. I want to see them play well here. Soroka is a mild regression candidate against Alcantara, who's got very good exit velocity numbers. Could be a problem for the Braves here, who do make a ton of hard contact. But going up against a guy like Alcantara, who does stay off the barrel, could be a lower scoring set of games here in the first 3. But in particular, Friday and Saturday, where Julio Teheran should play very well at Marlins Park. And also Soroka and Alcantara, a couple guys that do limit hard contact quite well. So maybe some unders on Friday and Saturday here in this series. I apologize for stumbling over my words here. Forgot to grab a bottle of water. So a little bit of cottonmouth going on here at the tail end of the show. In any event, a couple more series to take a look at. The Nationals and the Mets. The Mets are really surging right now. Nationals maybe leveling off a little bit. 3 phenomenal pitching matchups in this series. Strasburg and Stroman tomorrow. Corbin and Syndergaard Saturday. Sanchez and DeGrom on Sunday. Sanchez, one of those exit velocity guys, one of the best in baseball at that. Should be a guy that fits pretty well at Citi Field. Not sure I'll have a ton of activity on these 3 games, but man, lots and lots of intrigue. Stroman, second start with the Mets. Corbin, Sanchez, Syndergaard, DeGrom. 4 really good starters on Saturday and Sunday. Should be a good series, just I'm not sure there will be a lot of betting opportunities for us in those 3 games in Queens. Finally here, the Phillies and the Giants. You got the Nola Bumgarner matchup tonight that I mentioned already, and I do like the Phillies in that one. Drew Smyly, Tyler Beede tomorrow. Vince Velasquez, Jeff Samardzija Saturday. The injured Jake Arrieta and Connor Menez on Sunday. That is Sunday Night Baseball, which is kind of an interesting pick. But you've got nothing for Sunday Night Baseball here. The Phillies and the Giants are both off on Monday, so not a whole lot to worry about with them. Giants are in a regression period, though, after the trade deadline. They moved some guys from that bullpen. They're trying to patchwork things together with the bridge to Will Smith. Hasn't worked out all that well so far. The Phillies need to take advantage. These are games you have to get if you want to be a contender for the wild card and out there for, well, they're not going to win the division, but in a contender place for the wild card here. The Phillies have to win series like this. We'll see if they get off on the right foot tonight. One final note here to watch for this weekend. The largest road favorite since 2004 is a tie between the Indians on the road at the White Sox on September 7th, 2017, and the Astros at the Tigers on May 15th of this year. Minus 380, the line in both of those games. Justin Verlander is on the road on Sunday against the Baltimore Orioles. Will we see a minus 400 road favorite spot? We certainly could. And we could see a minus 500 here in the near future with guys like Verlander and Cole, I believe, taking on Baltimore at home here coming up. So we could see some very substantial favorite roles for the Astros here over the next couple of weeks. We'll chat some UFC with Christian Pina on Friday for this weekend's Fight Night card. On the next week, the Bettor's Box on Monday, some sort of football podcast on Wednesday, Bettor's Box Thursday, UFC Friday, and then August 19th, the daily shows on Bang the Book Radio return. 2 guests, an hour plus. Really looking forward to talking football with all of my regular staple of guests, and I'll try to get some new blood on the show here as well. That'll do it for me. Thank you so much for listening, everybody, and remember that you'll never strike out when you're in the Bettor's Box.